Today I thought I'd talk about, I don't know what to call it. Today I thought I'd talk about trusting your gut. So those of you that have been watching my videos will know that I had a real kind of gut feeling about not going to Brazil. Ben and Louis and Darcy have gone off to Brazil and I haven't gone with them. And I had booked the ticket though, there was a ticket booked for me, but I had been feeling really uncomfortable about going. And then my dad became ill, so suddenly it kind of, really made sense that I shouldn't go to Brazil. But why did I have that gut feeling? In a business video that I watched a while ago, I think it was by Brian Tracy, I'll look it up and I'll put the link below. He was saying that you really do need to trust your gut feeling, trust your instincts, and that they're not just kind of some airy-fairy feeling that you pull up the sky. They're actually an accumulation of all the experience that you've had, all the knowledge that you've built up, and an assessment of the current situation that your brain is doing in the background. So there's a lot of processing going on unconsciously, and that's why you get that feeling. But another thing about your gut feeling, and the fact that Brian Tracy was saying is really important, it's really important in business and it's important to trust it, is something that I heard of a while ago in another video. Can't remember the person's name, but again I'll link it below, which was talking about people that are controlling. And a phrase that she used that I've never really kind of registered before was, don't second guess yourself. So you get a feeling about something, and she was saying don't second guess yourself. You've had enough experience of people to know that when you get that feeling about somebody, there's probably substance behind it. And I think the problem is, when you're younger, you get feelings about people and you hear people saying don't trust your first impressions, and sometimes you can get a feeling about somebody just because they remind you of somebody else. So in a sense, when you are younger, you probably have got to question those feelings. But I think I am beginning to feel, now that I'm in my 50s, that I'm doing that too much. I'm questioning, I'm second guessing myself too much. Yeah, I had to look up the definition of second guessing yourself, and it is to have doubts, question, rethink your original thoughts, opinions, ideas. So I think I've been doing that too much, and certainly when we came back from Brazil and we were a bit all over the place, we did tend to ask people for their advice on different things, and I think we got the wrong advice on quite a few things. And I suddenly thought, what am I doing? What am I doing preferring somebody who has not been involved in the situation, is younger than me, has not been looking into this as much, hasn't been through what we've been through. What am I doing? I should be trusting my own feelings about things much more, because I'm spending more time thinking about it and researching it, which kind of makes sense. I think maybe that's it. I think maybe that's all I feel about it. I did watch a programme once where there was a firefighter, and he was in a situation and he suddenly just had a feeling that something was going to explode, and it was just hadn't kind of analysed it, hadn't tested whatever it was that was at fault, but he just said, okay, we've all got to leave the building now, got everybody out, and there was this explosion. And it was like, okay, how did he know? What did he, was it some kind of mystical thing? And the analysis was, no, he is an experienced firefighter, he's been in these situations before, without kind of rationally laying out all the situation and looking at it and consciously analysing it. His brain had done it and he just knew they had to get out. However, how did I know that my dad was going to become ill? That's not something I've been in before. And this is something that I think me and probably Louis and other people find difficult to talk about on camera and upload onto YouTube, because if you start talking about more kind of mystical things, people have a, well, I feel, I don't know, people have a preconceived idea. People often say, oh, I thought Louis was religious, or are you religious? And I would say, no, I'm not really interested in religion at all. And then it's very difficult to say, but I believe in God and I have a relationship with God, because what about the people who don't and are completely convinced there is no God? You're kind of saying, and you're wrong. And I don't want to say that. I honestly believe that everybody needs to be completely convinced of whatever truth they believe in. And I think that's more what I believe. I believe that everybody needs to find the truth. Except then, when I say, and I found God, I'm kind of saying, and I believe that's the truth. So that it makes it really difficult. So, and I don't want to say that. I don't want to tell people that they're wrong for what they believe. I totally respect everybody who, well, I just respect that everybody has their own feelings and they're on their own journey. But I would just, and I respect people who feel like they search for the truth and are convinced there is no God. And I think that's cool. And I think it's really important that you do search for the truth and are confident in what you have concluded at the end of that. And even if it's you've concluded that you don't know, that's cool. But you're watching videos about me and I'm just going to share about me. So I wouldn't ever want to say, oh, and I prayed about it and God said don't go, because that could be quite a manipulative thing. But just for myself and for my own kind of sense of direction in life and decisions and choices, I do look to God for guidance. And I've got a cool little story that I find quite encouraging, and it's that quite a number of years ago, at New Year, I set out things that I would like to see happen in that year, write them down in my diary. And at the end of that year, I looked at my diary and the majority of those things had happened. So again, I guess it's a kind of like a gut feeling. You kind of think, yes, you know, this is probably the way things are going to go. But I did say, oh God, what do you have in store for me this year? And the gut feeling that I had then was that long-standing relationships were going to be restored. And there were two people that I immediately thought of, and one was my best friend at school in Scotland from the age of 5. I had this friend called Bridget, and the other one was my Brazilian friend that I'd had as a teenager at school. And I'd lost touch with both of them. I'd lost touch with Bridget from about the age of 13. We moved from Scotland to England when I was 11, and I wrote to her quite frequently, well, not that frequently actually, and then we visited Scotland a few times, and I visited her when I was 13. But I think after that it just kind of seemed overwhelming. We didn't have the internet in those days, there wasn't email or Facebook or anything, so we just kind of gave up. But I used to think of her often because she was just such a lovely friend. She was just a wonderful person. And my friend Adila from Brazil, we'd been friends at school when we were teenagers. Her dad had come over for business for a couple of years and we were really close friends. And we did write to each other a lot when she moved back. And then various things happened. Her family went through a few traumatic things, and there was quite a gap in writing, and then she wrote again for a bit, and then there seemed to be another gap. With my friend in Scotland, I knew where her parents lived, and I thought I could probably write to them, and that, you know, they might still be alive, and they would be able to pass the letter on to her. And with my friend in Brazil, I was thinking, well, I was clearing at the loft and I found the last letter I'd had from her. So I think this was in something like 1995 or 1996, and the last letter I'd had from her was 1987. So, you know, I thought she's bound to have moved. But I wrote out a letter and I was thinking, shall I post it to this old address? Shall I contact the Brazilian embassy because they are probably able to contact her somehow because her dad was an admiral, so they might know where Admiral de Souza is. And I had the letter on my desk waiting and just deciding what to do, and I got a change of address note through the post from her. So just wow. And it had an email on it, and we'd, you know, the internet had begun then and email had started. So then we were just emailing each other really frequently, and we've met up and seen each other loads of times since then. So that's really, really cool. About 6 weeks later, I was working in London. I was doing some IT training, and I walked into a lift, and my friend Bridget was in the lift. Unbelievable. I was really shocked. I was supposed to be going and doing some training with the Undersecretary. It was a government offices. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm shaking so much. How can I go and do this training with this really, really important guy? It was one-to-one training. And she walked with me, showed me where his office was, and he got called into a meeting. So Bridget and I went for a coffee. And again, Bridget and I had just kept writing to each other, seeing each other. She was living in London. She'd been living in London for 19 years. And then the Scottish office opened, and she moved up to work there because she was quite high up in government and stuff, in the civil service. So every time I go to Scotland, I try and visit her. I couldn't get in touch with her when we were in Edinburgh the other week with Darcy, but I will pursue that. So yeah, so I don't know what that's about, but that seems pretty kind of powerful, not kind of something I organised, a feeling about something and then stuff just happening like that. Yeah, so that's an experience I've had of many. So I just want to encourage you guys to, you know, if you know that you're experienced in stuff, go with your gut instincts about stuff. It's probably your brain's already processed it. And then also, yeah, be open to other feelings that you just have. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I always forget to say comment below, and I love it when you guys comment and ask me questions and things like that. I think I might have already said in the previous Fry Diary that for Tuesday, it would be quite good to do a Q&A. So if I have managed to upload this on a Sunday, which I'm trying to do Liz's life lessons on, then yeah, comment below, ask me any questions, and we'll do a Q&A on Tuesday. Bye. So we've come down to the recreation ground where we grew up. I know Louis vlogs that he grew up here, but so did we.